Enough empty office space for nearly 180,000 employees in just downtown San Francisco alone. 180,000. That is more than any major big city has employed in their downtown core, period. Right? Crazy. 23 million square feet. We have never seen this because we have never shut the economy down for a pandemic, right? So here we are. We are dealing with it after the fact. Let's get into it. Let's see what the numbers say. Here we go. This one is super interesting from the perspective of, all right, you got 180,000 people that could be, employed in all this space. That's a lot. But then we're putting it into perspective. And if you're looking at this building, this is the Salesforce building in downtown, I almost said Seattle, but it's downtown San Fran. It kind of looks like a bullet, doesn't it? A bullet or maybe a rocket, or what does it look like to you? Yeah, don't go there. As we outlined last week, the amount of vacant office space in San Francisco has ticked over 23 million square feet. A couple million just came on. For context, the 1,070 square foot Salesforce Trans Bay Tower at First and Mission, which is the tallest building in San Francisco, contains 1.35 million square feet of office space spread across 59 floors. And you've got 23 million square feet total. Enormous numbers. I know a lot of you don't care about this, but you will when the economy starts to do a little jig this way, a little jog that way, when a lot of this commercial space gets defaulted on and goes back to lenders. It's going to rock all kinds of stuff. So that's why we're talking about it. And this has been an ongoing topic since the pandemic. The big kicker has been employers have recognized, man, we don't need all that space. And employees, they don't want to go back and work in that space. So there's this massive, massive amount of space available, just getting dumped onto the market. One of my last podcasts was how many billions of dollars are being wasted by the federal government because they don't have employees working in these buildings either. They're all working at home. Everybody wants to work from home. I get it. People got used to the whole concept. And you've got CEOs saying, you can't work from home. You can't manage a company from home. Well, a lot of companies can, and a lot of companies are. And we no longer need all this space because we're no longer on this daily grind of get up 5 days a week, go to the office. I'm still on that grind, but I also never worked from home. I mean, not during the pandemic. In 2011, I took both my companies. Summit wasn't very big, and we went virtual. Everybody worked from home. And then as Summit grew, we got big enough and I needed a podcast space. And so, we've taken on a little bit of office space, but my companies have been virtual since 2011. And during the whole pandemic thing, I came into the office every single day because I wasn't going to work from home because somebody told me, you need to flatten the curve. Like, no, F that. I'm not doing that. I'm going to go to the office like a grown adult. And here I am, and other people are like, I love working from home. I get that. For some people that works. For me, it does not. I am not motivated to work at home. I want to work in my garden. I want to do whatever ridiculous I'm going to do on my home computer and not on my work computer, right? Employing the framework we introduced back in 2020 and others have since co-opted as their own, taking shots at other people, other media. There is now 17.1 Salesforce Towers, or over 1,000 Salesforce Tower floors. So let's look at the picture again. You've got 17 of these bad boys all empty. 17 of the biggest towers in San Francisco. Now, San Francisco is the poster child. If you haven't been following my podcast, San Francisco is the poster child, with Seattle probably coming in a close second for having office space, numbers-wise, that's become available and on the market and vacant. And that is because San Fran, a lot of the technology that we use to work from home was developed in San Fran. So you've got the most employees in a position to work from home in San Fran. And that's what they're doing. And then the street conditions in San Francisco are such that people just don't want to have their employees going there. Companies are no longer taking space down. They are instead shutting space down. By taking space down, I mean renting it out. They're not doing that. It's going the other way. So up until just recently, I think up until maybe beginning of June, it was 21 million square feet in San Francisco, according to, great book. That is a great book. Employing the framework. So we got 17.1 Salesforce Towers, or over 1,000 Salesforce Tower floors worth of empty office space spread across San Francisco, which is roughly enough to accommodate between 132,000 AI workers or employees based on an average pre-COVID office density ratio, or up to 178,000 a la Twitter, where you just jam them all in an office, worker bees. 178,000. It's just, it's absolutely mind blowing. So here you've got another 2 million square feet of vacant office space in San Francisco. So, one of my most recent podcasts was on Embarcadero Plaza in San Francisco. And if you watch that podcast, what I did is I reviewed a video that an individual shot, just basically walking through Embarcadero Plaza, which used to be a massively busy plaza servicing the financial district in San Francisco. But you can see the traffic flow. There's no traffic. There's no foot traffic. We talk about lack of foot traffic, or there's a ton of foot traffic, just the wrong kind. You got gangbangers running around shooting people, or selling drugs, or selling stolen goods. You got a lot of that in your downtown core now, because you don't have enough normal folks working their 9-to-5 job in the big high rises, in the big towers. That's become a non-thing. Everybody was told, go work from home. It's going to be great forever. We're just going to really crush this COVID-19 thing, right? We're all in this together. Till we're not, right? Till we're not. So this has had probably more impact than anything else, and will have more impact on anything else, this whole work from home, and just the attitude towards that. Is we've never had a situation where all of a sudden a big portion of our workforce has shifted to the burbs, has shifted to wherever they live. Remember at the beginning of the pandemic, we just had a mass exodus out of San Francisco, out of LA, most significantly out of New York, in New York City and Manhattan. And because of the density, nobody wanted to be there. And if none of the cool features of the downtown cores are open, why in the world would you want to live somewhere where you're in a high rise made out of tin and, having to touch an elevator where you got all kinds of people because everybody was just so freaked out. Oh my gosh, you're wearing a mask. You're not wearing a mask. Who was it the other day? It was In-N-Out Burgers. They basically came right out and said, "No, we need to see your smiling face. No more masks. Only way you can wear a mask is that if you have a doctor's note. We don't want any more mask wearing people here." And whenever I see people wearing a mask, I'm like, I'm sorry you're so frightened of really nothing anymore. Yeah, the coronavirus is out there in various different degrees, but it's probably not going to kill you. If you're, relatively healthy, you're going to get a little sick, but it's not going to kill you. Like at the beginning of the pandemic, they told told everybody, you're going to die. You get it. You're going to die. No, you need to get the jab. You need to get 14 jabs and, then everybody's going to be fine. 14 jabs and 16 updates and everybody's good. Now, yeah, we're past that, but the after effect of the whole work from home, that is going to be around forever, including all of the health consequences of getting the jab, I believe, myself included. Just one of those things where, wish I didn't do that. Yeah, that wasn't a good call, but I did. I had a bunch of reasons. And at the time I was like, okay, I got to make a judgment call on what I'm doing here. And went down that road. One of the other roads was the whole work from home, right? Work from home. It's going to be great. You guys are going to do great. We'll do this for just a little bit and then we'll all go back to the office and sing Kumbaya. We did it for so damn long, or most people did that for so damn long. They don't want to go back to a normal routine. They got used to doing their laundry on their lunch break. They got used to walking the dog. They got used to picking up their kids from school because they're closer to their kids' school. They're no longer driving into wherever their office is. And so, the suburban markets have done actually quite well because that's where all the people are. Stores in suburban markets are doing okay. It's the downtown cores, like downtown San Francisco. San Francisco has other issues going on as well as just people not renewing their lease space or people giving up their lease space. I was reading yesterday that we're going to have a drop in commercial real estate values of, on the light end, on the very light end, somewhere around 20%. I don't think there's a chance in hell we get away with a 20% haircut on commercial properties. And this is aggregate across the United States, right? So the big number that was thrown out is if this work from home thing continues and we can't figure out a way to get our employees back into the downtown core, it's going to be a 40% haircut on values in downtown cores. Not necessarily on the vast majority of office space, which is space like I'm in, which is think like doctors, dentists, that kind of, not in a big, huge high rise. Smaller buildings. That's what the vast majority of most commercial office space is. But the downtown cores, the trophy buildings. Yesterday, podcasted on a 5-year-old trophy building in Portland, just outside of downtown Portland. It was in one of those areas where the city had given a 5-year tax abatement for putting together a deal. All right, this is an area we want to encourage people to develop in. So we're going to do 5 years tax abatement, a big incentive. And now that the owner of that building, Goldman Sachs, is one of the partners. You might have heard of them, big investment firm, right? They're giving a building back to their lender because they have no tenants. There's no tenants in downtown, and in areas adjacent to downtown, they're being impacted significantly. So that building, I think it cost $108 million to build and $118 million to purchase. The 108 to build didn't sound right with the 118, but debt of $73.8 million. And the lender is basically saying, we don't have enough tenants to keep this going. We're out. We're doing a deed in lieu of foreclosure. And there's supposed to be another 59 properties like that somewhere in the 50s in Portland. This is in Portland, Oregon, another downtown that has just been decimated because it's not because of the work from home thing as much as it is Portland just let Antifa run amok. And they had those 100+ nights of, looting and rioting and graffiti, just ran downtown into the ground. And, now we've got this work from home and, companies are looking at their office space going, I don't think we're going back there. I don't think we're making that happen. Amazon has done that to a big office space that they had, Old Macy space in downtown Seattle. They've basically said it kind of looks down on the Blade, which is probably one of two of Seattle's arguably worst blocks in the entire city. It's just overrun with drug dealers and people selling fentanyl and people selling stolen goods. And we've let the gangsters and the mob, gang members run that forever. And we defunded the police, and now we just don't have the political will to really clear that out on a long-term basis. So Amazon has space looking down on the Blade, and they're like, the whole safety issues of that little spot down there, we're not having our employees come back to this office space because it's so terrible. So you've got situations like that where big employers are saying, no, we're going to either move our employees to a safer environment or they're working from home. They're working from home. Now, the flip side to that is you've got a lot of CEOs saying you can't run a business working from home. Your management can't integrate with the employees in a good way. You can't make that happen. Do you know what a lot of companies are doing? They're saying, I'm not so sure. The last 3 years we did, and it seemed to work out pretty good. And if we don't have to spend all that money on real estate, on leasing space, why would we? Federal government has millions of square feet. We are literally spending billions right now on basically unused office space. Did a podcast on that just right before this one on how much money we're spending and how many entities, how many divisions of the federal government have 90% of their office space not being used. So they're talking about, consolidating, getting rid of the lease space, or moving in with another division, but nobody wants to move in with another division because then they might appear that, they're subservient to that other division and government. You know what I mean? It's like, oh no, I don't work with that entity. No, this is my job. We're way better than those guys. Government stuff, right? But government took up a lot of space. Now the government's going to give up a lot of space, or will they? Will they just continue to have you and I foot that bill? Probably. Right? But at some point in time, there's going to be a day of reckoning where so much of this space is going to come back on the market, and you've got so much commercial debt that is coming due because you got to refinance that stuff, right? They're big numbers, and you got short-term loans and you got to refinance that. Well, now you're refinancing it in a higher interest rate environment, and the credit has been constricted because everybody's looking around going, I don't want to take on any more commercial debt. That's the kiss of death. Why would I want to do that? And a lot of people are predicting a massive implosion on not only the mid-tier regional banks, but on the economy in general, because all of a sudden, we don't have all of the tax dollars being generated in our downtown cores across the United States. So that being said, I know we talk about it, but that many Salesforce Towers are basically empty. That many floors are empty. 180,000 people, an entire, probably multiple, say you've got 60,000 people, you're a mid-sized city. You got 60,000 people working in your downtown core. Now you've got 3 cities worth of vacant office space sitting in just San Francisco alone. And we're not done. We're not out. It's not like stuff is being absorbed. We're going the other way. You've got a ton of sublease space that's coming back on the market. And then you're going to have building after building after building go back to lenders. That's kind of a no-brainer because there's nothing to stop the momentum of what you've got going on right now. So that's why we keep seeing these headlines. And that's why this is so significant, because not only tax dollars to individual cities' budgets, massive hit, but just the whole economy, the whole ecosystem of our downtown and our suburban markets has been rocked because all the money people were spending in the downtown when they worked there, it's now going to the burbs. So you've had this massive shift of not only how we do business, but how we work. And so many of you I know are working from home. I see the notes all the time. Yep, working from home. Used to do this. Now we're doing this. Because your employer doesn't have to pay for office space. And you figured out ways to make it go. One of the things that I became aware of kind of with dealing with people in the tech industry is that so many companies, if you are a multinational company, you're going to have people in different parts of the world, and you're never going to be in the same office, right? Maybe once a year, maybe once a quarter, you meet up and do your thing. But it's unrealistic to expect those folks to all get into one office building because they don't really have to, and they've worked out how to make it go. So forcing people back into the office they once went to communicate with people all over the world because their business is like that, that's a tough sell. Well, we want you to do it because, this is how we used to do it before, and we really rocked the system, and we want to get back. Remember when Mayor London Breed down in San Francisco, where we were talking about, a year ago, she was like, yeah, we need you all to come back to the office. We need to get back to the office. It's get back to the office time because of tax revenue. They know, governmental entities know that they're going to have some massive upside down budgets. Not bringing in enough revenue, expenses. So then what are they going to do? They're going to cut services and they're going to increase taxes, further cementing the doom loop, of which this is exactly what we're talking about. I don't like to use the term doom loop because I'm just not a doom and gloom kind of guy, but that's a lot of what you've got going on. And that's it's something important that we need to focus on, not dwell on it all the time, but know it's out there and follow along and go, okay, this is going to impact things big time. This is a coming. Can't ignore it. You can't ignore that you've got office space for 180,000 people sitting empty. Massive repercussions, massive implications. That's what we got going on. It's 2023. We flattened that curve. Oh, yeah. And then we wrecked a lot of economies by doing that whole 15 days to flatten the curve. We flattened the economy specifically in downtown commercial space economy. We did that. I mean, just stunning results, folks. Well done. Here's a podcast that just literally drives home that fact, right? All right. That's enough for me. Stay reasonable. Check out the merch. Check out our Discord channel. It's called Reasonable Plus. Got like 300 people that go there and got stuff going on there. Also, check out our reasonabletv.com. It's our private channel. We got stuff there that we can't release elsewhere because censorship. Okay. Thanks for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.